My name is David Granville. I'm the owner of Kelham Island Books and Music, down in Shalesmore. In fact, it's on the edge of Kelham Island, but we all call it Kelham Island down here. And I've been the owner of Kelham Island Books and Music for the last three and a bit years. I started bookselling in the mid-1980s, back in London where I was living at the time. Collett's International Bookshop. It was a chain of left-wing bookshops that were on Charing Cross Road, the main bookselling road in London at that time. In fact, it probably still is, although it's changed a lot since the mid-1980s. And I started off selling with responsibility in the shop for biography, poetry and cookery. And I was there for a couple of years. I was also the shop steward for all of the shops in the area. We had 3 shops on Charing Cross Road, and we had one on Museum Street, which was the Chinese bookshop opposite the British Museum. Kelham Island Books and Music, it's a general bookshop, and we cover most areas. There are a few areas we don't cover, or we don't cover very well at all. We don't really do law, we don't do business outside of the sort of psychology side of it, and we don't do medicine. What we do though is pretty much a bit of everything else, and in some cases a lot of everything else. We've got a very big fiction section. We've also got a very big history section. History is a personal interest to me in particular, but we cover everything from natural history, history, children's books, art photography, local studies. We're very popular with local studies people. We've also got humour, music, very big music section. We're both in terms of we actually sell vinyl as well as books, but we also have a very big music book section too. So you said we cover really all sorts of areas for the general reader. One of the most enjoyable things about a bookshop is finding a book or sourcing a book or locating it on the shelves for a customer who's got a particular requirement. I mean, it gives me tremendous satisfaction. What also gives me great satisfaction is when young people come in asking about books, because young people are the future, and there is a vicious rumour around that young people don't read anymore, and this is categorically not true. But it is always nice to be able to help the younger readers, whether they're children or whether they're young adults. What's irritating about often is if a day when you get very few customers in at all, it can be very boring. Even if you've got a lot of tasks, you can't help but worry about the fact that you need to put some money in the till to pay the bills. But perhaps the most irritating thing of all is when couples come in and one of them doesn't really want to be in the shop, and the other one then hassles the other person who is very keen and attentive to your stock, whether it's records or whether it's books, and is being hassled by their partner. And that happens all too frequently, and it is exceptionally irritating. I think the future for independent bookselling is actually quite rosy. Like Amazon, for example, we had the rise of internet selling in all areas, and bookselling is no exception. In fact, Amazon, of course, started with books. It's a double-edged sword, really, because in many ways it helped to protect and increase sales of book selling at a particular period, but Amazon always wanted to dominate the market. In fact, they don't really want to dominate the market, they would like to be the market. And that has the implications, particularly for independent bookshops, can't really match the kind of prices that you get on Amazon. But what we find is that people actually value bricks and mortar shops and don't want to see them go out of business. And there's been quite a backlash against Amazon in some cases. There are lots of people who won't buy on Amazon specifically because they don't want to lose their bricks and mortar shop down the road or in their city centre. And so it's, you know, it's a bit of a swings and roundabout situation. But they have, in one sense, helped second-hand booksellers in particular to survive, but they have, you know, increasingly are threats. So they're the kind of the devil you can't live with and you can't live without. But I think there's still a place for bricks and mortar shops, and I think they're looking healthier and more opening all the time.